We have started the JavaScript series. So in this video we will learn like what is a fetch request. So isn't it beautiful? In the first video we are learning so good things about what is a fetch request and how we will able to communicate with the server. So you have communicated with many of your friends, colleagues, and God knows what all people out of it. Like, how does communication work? Suppose if we both are communicating and if you are giving me a request, like if telling me like bring water, that means you are giving me a request, and in response I am bringing a glass of water to you. So the request and response interaction is termed as communication. In the same manner, my friends, we will communicate with the server and server will give us a response in the state of promise. So what is a promise? So promise is basically that returns a state out of it. Like if you order, if you tell me like bring me a glass of water, what scenarios it can be? It can be fulfilled, like I can give you a glass of water. It can be rejected. I will tell you no, I am not interested. Do your work. So or it can be a pending state. I will tell you wait 5 to 10 minutes. After 5 to 10 minutes, I will bring out of it. The same manner, my friends, server behaves in the and that will return a promise out of it. Isn't it beautiful? And we will use then and catch to handle the errors using try and catch block, and we'll go with the asynchronous code. But what my friend is asynchronous code? As we all know, JavaScript is a synchronized code, means it executes one line at a time, not a complicated. But what if set timeout and if we are making an API request, how does it handles? Using async and await, and we will services works. I will not make things complicated. I'm very eager to start the video out of it. So just wait a moment. We'll just proceed with first. So are you guys excited? So we are just deep diving into a fetch request. Before deep diving, we'll just understand like we are just creating a mock API using Beeceptor. So like before understanding and deep diving into an API, here we have to understand that an endpoint. And what is an endpoint? Here a list of URL. For example, this is my URL that I will make an API request, and inside that there are some methods. Like what are methods? Different types of method like get method, post method. Now we'll understand only two methods. Get methods are there that we are want to fetch anything. For example, if you want to take anything from your friend, then that will be get. And if you want to give anything to your friend, that is a post. Suppose API is your friend. If you want to give anything, give means post, take means get. So understand it in this manner. So I will just copy it and just use a fetch, and with single inverted comma I will pass an API, and we have just not we will take this one, that list of users, and we'll just copy it. As you know, my friend, we will use then and catch block. I have just told you, and then is basically a series of steps that is to be followed. After one step, the second step will be executed. In this manner, a series of steps. So here I will use then. And as you all know, function has some parameters, basically an identifiers from which we will identify it. So I will pass a response, and I will print if response dot okay, means response dot okay means a positive condition. Here if I add a not, means response is not equals to okay, then throw an error. Just throw an error. That will be a network error. That is simple. Here, as I have mentioned, whenever a communication is been happening between you and the server, means a client and the server will give us a response. So I will just return a response that will be in JSON format. And after this then is executed, we will move to the next then. So after then, here we will make a parameter named data, and inside data I will use for each. To understand for each is used for iterating over each array. It will not return a new array out of it. We are just iterating over each element. So data dot for each. Here I will just give a name. Here I am just console.log name dot email. Here we are just printing out the emails. Now we are moving to the catch block. Catch is basically for catching out the errors. here parameter name console.log. That will be error. So my dear friends, are you ready for an output that is being generated? So yeah, in the first attempt only we have just console all the outputs, but what is the output coming out from? What is this email ID? So that we'll go into the networks. Inside network, users are there, and inside response, here we are getting ID, name, email, and is this email similar to this email? Absolutely, you are absolutely right. This email is similar to this email because we are receiving here some response out of it. And I just mentioned you like status 200 is okay, and that is the response.ok that we have passed out of it. Isn't it beautiful? We have just created our first fetch API request. So just drop in the comments and just subscribe the button right now. I'm just waiting out for it, and just share it on social media as well. You have just created a fetch API from yourself. So now we will move to async and await. So yeah, just give me a moment. So after that, we are just moving into async and await. What a beautiful concept, and you will really enjoy it. Async and await. Basically, as we all know, JavaScript is a single-threaded synchronous programming language, and that's the main unique point of it. Like, it executes line by line. But what if my API, like you can see my API is taking around 48.57 milliseconds. That time my main thread is getting blocked. So this is very a bad behavior if we don't make it in a proper standardized format. So what is the proper standardized format? In most companies, they create a function and use an async and await. Very simple. We'll just comment it out. So I will just create a function that is a fetch email, and inside the fetch email, before a function, I will use an async, and I will just create a variable that is a response, and inside that I will make a fetch request. So my fetch request is this. So fetch request, we will call the same endpoint, and with the same condition, and throw an error. So I'll just copy an error message, so that will be also similar. And here I will use user details is equals to response, that we are just converting the response into JSON format, and just we are using user details dot for each method that is a name, for example that is user. So I'll just print console.log user.email, and yeah, that's it. And I'll just wrap it in try and catch block. So here is the try, and here is the catch blocks. So I'll just consoling my error out of it, and just create a format document. Yeah, now we'll just see the result out of it. We have to call the function, right? That's the main thing. Just invoking a function. Here nothing is printing, and we are getting a type error. What is this type error? As you all know that whenever we use async is basically a function, but an API call, this is the request. But on the response also, we will have to add an await, right? So here my email ID is fetch, and we have also created this function, created an API request using async and await. So isn't it beautiful? Now we will deep dive into the browser, my friend. Like, we are just making a network call, and as you can see on the screen, I will go into the users, and in the users I will found something very important. Like, this is the URL that we have passed it in our code, and this is the method. So method is get, it is out. Here is the status code. There are many status code, you can just get it on the browser, on the Chrome itself. Now status 200, remember we have just passed it over if status dot okay, and here my JSON is there. For example, consider I want to pass, here my email is there, but I want to pass company name. So as you can see, now company name has been printed. So isn't it beautiful? We are just manipulating the API as per our intentions and as per our requirement. So just drop in the comment and just click on the subscribe button right now. That will boost my confidence. So welcome my dear friends. Till now we have learned how we can use a normal fetch method using then and catch block. Then we have executed using async and await with a beautiful asynchronous function. Here this method is very useful because in this method we will try to understand how we implement using services, because it is used in most of the product based company and it is very standardized method because we passed all the endpoints using dynamically manner. So API config, so we'll just execute it. Here I will create a base URL that will be my path. So I'll just copy the path, but as you can see I will not copy a user's path, that will pass it in a dynamical manner. I'll just remove slash as well, and here I will create a asynchronous function that name will be an API client, and here two parameters will pass it. First is the endpoint. I'll just explain you like what is an endpoint, and after that I will pass options as well. Just don't get confused like what options are. Just consider it is a parameter till now, and here we have to create a brand new URL that will combine base URL plus endpoint. What is a base URL? This is my base URL, and the users I will pass it in a dynamical manner using an that will be an endpoint. So we have passed it out. Now what we can do, we can create a URL as mentioned, URL using an backticks. Whenever in backticks we have to declare or fetch a variable, we use dollar curly braces, and here we have created a base URL and dollar dot endpoint. Simple? Yeah, it should be of course simple because we are explaining it in a very minute manner. And here what we'll do now, we will call a fetch method. So I will call a fetch method and store it in a variable, and we will use await, as we all know why we use await. And here I will pass endpoint and option. No, will not point, will pass URL and options. I'm sorry. And after that the same methodology that we use, if my response dot okay is negative, means it is not true, then just throw an error. Just throw an error. As we use a network error, and we'll just print response. So we'll use response dot status. And as we all know, like communication happens and server communicates with us, and we get a promise, we'll just convert it in a JSON format. But here my friends, here the most beautiful concept is there. If you want to use any other file, means I want to use a function in another file as well in user services, I will have to export it out, and I will import my API client. API client from the path. So the path is API config.js, and here I will create a one more asynchronous function that will be fetch. I'll just call a function, that's it, nothing else, and I will just return API client, and here I will pass an endpoint. What is the endpoint? Users. So this is my function, and here I will create one more function. So this function fetch email directory. So we'll just create iterate using map and create a new array out of it. So just wait a moment, you will just understand like what I'm trying to say out of it. So now we'll just move how we can create a function fetch email directory. So here we'll just create an export because we have to use it in another file, that is app.js, and this is my asynchronous function that will be fetch email directory. And I have just returned the spelling wrong, no issues. Here we'll do some I'll just call and fetch raw data function over here and store it in a variable. users is equals to await fetch raw data, and I have again done a spelling mistake, that's usual. Now I will iterate over a map function, and map function will give me a new array. So users dot map, here it will be it will give me user return. What I will return, just wait a moment, I'll write a code and explain you one by one. User dot name and email, that is user dot email dot to lowercase dot trim method. These are the inbuilt methods, and I will use return users dot map. Okay, so what I have done over here, I've created and fetch email directory and iterate over a map. So map is an inbuilt method. It iterates over each array and give us a new array out of it. So in the new array, my id will be the user dot id, name will be user dot name. In email, what I have done, I have used some inbuilt methods, like all should be in lowercase only, and if there are any spaces, so it will be trim out using a trim method. So I will use this in app.js. In app.js, it's very simple, we just have to call a function out of it. So fetch email directory, I'll just use in app import from user service.js, and here we don't have to use it in other file, but we will use an export, and I'll just give a name that will be dashboard. Fashboard, no brother, dashboard. Again, I have done a spelling mistake as usual. Here I'll just call fetch email directory and just store it in a variable. So sorry, fetch email directory, and I will just console it out email directory. And before declaring a variable, I'll also use console.log to check if my function is working as expected. Dashboard is running, and I'll just call a function, because if we do not invoke a function, how the function will be executed? So we'll just see if our code is working or not, and I guarantee you in first try it will hardly run, but we'll see how it goes. We'll just use live, so it will be executed day 1. Yeah, I'll just go on to the console and check if it is printing. So dashboard is running and a promise is fulfilled, but we are not getting anything. So we'll just check it, like what issue is happening over here. So it's my API config.js. Here we have just returned a response.json, that's also here, no issue is there. In user service.js, we have used users.map and return out of it. We'll just check, like promise is in pending state. Here it's showing fulfilled, and here it's. But as you can see over here, we have just missed a single thing, like we have not added await as it, and it should run, I believe. Anything we have missed it out. We have also added over here await. Here also be an await as well, because it will take time. And user service, we have added a here await, and app.js, when we are invoking a function, so we'll use await here as well. So yes, as you can see, we have added all await, so that's what our concern was. Here you can see we have iterated over each things and we have got our results. So this method is very useful when you want to pass your endpoint it in a dynamic manner. Now we'll just check like what is an endpoint. Coming over here, so this is our, I'll just make a copy it and just paste it over here. Here as you can see, this is my URL, and this is my total URL. So how URL is created? With a base URL. And what is our base URL? As you all know, my base URL is this, mock.beeceptor.com. and after that, in dynamic manner, when we are using a fetch raw data, I silently passed my endpoint, that is users. So in this way, my full URL is created, that is a base URL plus endpoint, that my full URL. And after that, I've added over the map functions, and in app.js I've just executed it using a function out of it. So just let me know in the comments like how did you like the video, and just drop your comments, and I'm waiting for the next video out of it. So thank you so much everyone for investing your time in Organic, and thank you everyone.